All right. So we got a few things on our agenda for this studio. First, I don't know how many of you actually tried this. If you hadn't, I would encourage it. What happens if we try to add a movie and we sneak some HTML in the text box? Let's give this a try real quick. Actually, before I even do that, I'm still on the walkthrough 3 branch. I already committed my code, but I need to switch to the studio branch, so I'm going to do that first. Check out Studio 3. Okay. And now I can run it. Yes, 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 yes. All right, we're up and running. Oops, I don't know why I clicked that. I didn't mean to click that. I meant to go over here and get that out of there. All right, here we go. Here's my page. And if I want to, I can be a little sneaky and copy in some code that looks like this. You can see the HTML here, right? So if you tried this, you already know what's going to happen. But paste it in and I add it, and you can see that, oh, the movie I added is actually a button. That's not cool. That's not what we want. That's not what we want to happen. So our first task is to stop that from happening. Make that stop. So what are we going to do? What do we do to fix that problem? We're going to escape. We're going to escape this movie and make it so that if it has HTML stuff in it, it's not going to affect our page. So we actually saw this in the walkthrough today. You can see here this line of code is fetching the movie from the post request that was sent to us, correct? So I'm going to plug that into the escape function. What else do I need to do to make this work? What else do I need to do to make this work right? Stick it in a variable, right? So escape is going to return the escaped value. So I'm going to stick that into a variable. So I'll call it escaped movie equals. Okay? And then what else do I need to do to make sure that everything's going to work the way I expect it to? So if I go down below, you can see that I'm still using new movie down here, right? But I don't want to do that. I want to use the escaped movie. So I'm going to replace this variable with the escaped movie to make sure that it's still going to use the proper value. Does that make sense? Using the escaped movie down here. And we can actually test this. I've only done a very small change. I wrote this line of code here, right? And then I substituted it in down below, and that's it. That's the only changes that I've made, and hopefully that should prevent the issue that we saw. So let's go back to our web page and try it out. I'll try this very same thing. You can see I still got the code here with the HTML in it, and if I try it now, you can see that the HTML appears as text, which is exactly what I wanted to happen. It no longer tries to execute that HTML as part of my page because we have properly escaped that value. Okay? We all good? All right. We've got a couple other things that we need to take a look at. So if I look at the next item on our list, you can see that they might not type anything in at all. They might leave the box blank. So we can actually try that out too and see what would happen. If I go back and refresh my page, I'm going to leave this box blank. And then when I hit the added button, what's going to happen? What do we think? Add nothing? Blank has been added to your watch list. Blank. Blank value. So we want to prevent that from happening. We want to make it so that if they enter a blank value, that we send them back and say, hey, you forgot to fill out this box, right? You forgot to do this. But first things first, I need to validate that input. I need to check to see if it's a blank value or not. So how do I do that? How do I check to see if they gave me a blank value? If escaped movie equals quote, quote, the empty string, right? If it equals a blank value, all right, then what do I want to do? I need to create an error message, and then I need to send them back, right? That's actually very similar to what we did in the walkthrough today, correct? Something like this. So, I'm sorry, wrong one. It was in Crossed Off movie. That's the one I was thinking of. Something like this. Something like this. Create an error message and redirect them. In fact, I can probably just steal this line of code directly. So I'll do that. If it's blank, I'm going to redirect them, and then I'm going to set error equal to please enter a movie, right? Something like that. And then I'll redirect them to the index, and I'll pass that error message along so that it gets displayed to them. The code that we wrote from the walkthrough is still there to grab the error message and display it, right? So I don't need to worry about that part. We did that in the walkthrough today. So I'm just going to create this new error message and send it on over. Let's give it a try. I'm going to save my work here real quick. I'm going to go back to my page and refresh. And now I'm going to hit add it. And hopefully it's going to tell me an error message this time. Please enter a movie. It worked. We got it. Any questions about that piece? Go back to the code? Sure, happy to. Again, just a small snippet here. This is all I did. That's the only code that I did to address item number 2 on our to-do list. Okay? We've got one more thing. One more thing on our to-do list. Item number 3 says the user might try to add a bad movie, a terrible movie. In fact, if you look at the file, there's actually a list in there with terrible movies on it. And so we're not going to allow users to include those movies. We're being very, it's almost censorship, but you know, it's our website, so we can do what we want. So if they try to enter one of those terrible movies, we're gonna send them back with an error message that looks something like this. That's the goal next. So if I look in the code, I can actually find that list of movies. It is right here. It's called Terrible Movies, and you see somebody mentioned out actually in the group that I was with that that's not even actually a movie. That's not a real movie, but you know, they made a sequel to this one? Wow, I didn't know that. I actually disagree with this last one. I actually think this is a... I think it's an okay movie. It's not like the greatest movie ever made or anything, but it's fine. It's fine. It's all right. All right, anyway. So I'm going to check to see if the movie's in the list. Let me see here. What were those movies again? Where'd they go? Oh, here it is. Yeah, thanks. I'm going to check to see if these movies are in the list. So how am I going to do that? What am I going to say? If... What am I doing? Escaped movie in terrible movies. All right. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did for the last item. I'm going to construct an error message. I'm going to redirect them. Right? Construct an error message, redirect them to the home page. So the error message is going to look like, trust me, you don't want to add. And then this is where I want to put the name of the movie, right? So how do I do that? Squiggly? Yeah, curly braces. Squigglies to your watch list. And then I'll say .format and plug in which value? Escaped movie. Whoops. I did something bad. Escaped movie. There we go. That creates my error message, and then I can actually just copy this line as it is, stick it in. I think we're good. I think we're okay. Let's try it out. I'm gonna go back to my page here. I'm gonna refresh to get the changes. Whoops. All right, refresh my page, start from scratch, and the shortest one to type in is this one, right? Geely. If I add it, it says, trust me, you don't want to add that movie to your watch list, but let's try a different one just for fun. Let's try this fake movie that doesn't even exist. I'm just gonna copy it because I don't want to type all that out. I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna paste that in, and I'm gonna hit add it. All right, cool. It worked. It worked. So this studio, actually, we did 3 things. Neither one of them required a ton of code. They kind of followed a similar format. I can almost fit everything onto, this is like 95% of the code that was necessary to complete today's studio that's up here on the screen right now. Are there any questions? The end of the long line. Yeah. Any questions? All right. That's all we've got for you today. Keep working on Web Caesar if you're not already done with it, because that's going to be due on Thursday. Let us know on Slack if you have any questions or you need any help getting through Web Caesar. Otherwise, have a great week, and I'll see you back here on Thursday.